Hey humans, from the depths of r/Truthoffmychest, a story of love, betrayal, and a single moment that changed everything. What would you do if the person you trusted most became your biggest regret? First up, a jaw-dropping cheating story coming from NoEagle8661.
Hello guys, I don't know if this is the right place for this, but my world has come crashing down in the last 6 hours. I'm not sure what I'm looking for in writing this post, but maybe some sort of security in people, knowing the events that just took place. I met my fiancé 7 years ago while we were both 21 and I was in the military. She was a beautiful girl that I knew was out of my league, but liquid courage works wonders sometimes, and I was able to obtain her number one night at a bar we both frequented. We grew close fast, began dating shortly after, and were inseparable. We bought a house together, both obtained our BAS in business, and were set on starting a business soon. We never argued, and any small quarrel we had was resolved within an hour or less, and we were back to being intimate. Our sex life was amazing. We were both very open to trying things, and grew to know each other's bodies extremely well. I'm also a very laid-back guy and would allow her to basically live her life how she wanted, but she always wanted to be around me. She even stayed for a week in the hospital with me when I wrecked my motorcycle a couple of years ago. That's why it hurts so much when I think about what I walked into last night. I had gone out with some friends and hopeful business partners and grabbed a couple of drinks to talk about some things, but I was pretty tired, so I decided to call it quits earlier than I told my fiancé I'd be out for. I walked into my house as quietly as I could because I figured she was asleep, and she was a light sleeper. As I made my way through our house, I thought I could hear giggling and moaning, and my heart skipped a beat. I snuck to our bedroom, and when I peeked around the corner, I felt as though I was going to vomit. There she was on top of another man, and they were both naked and in the middle of the deed. Some older guy I had never met before, in my bed. I calmly walked into the room and said hello. They both jumped in fear. And what proceeded next is why I believe I will be in jail by the end of today. I stood there as she started to ramble and explain while he remained in my bed staring at me. We had locked eyes, and neither of us was willing to blink. I don't even know what my fiancé said. All I know was I asked him what he was doing in my bed with my girl. He smugly smiled and told me the words that keep repeating in my head. Just giving her body everything you couldn't.
Trust. Such a delicate thing, isn't it? We pour years into establishing it with those we love, but betrayal? It can wreck it in seconds. And then it's wildly interesting how forgiveness often demands more strength than vengeance. Let's see how this story unfolds.
I carry a concealed weapon after being mugged half a decade ago, and those words sent me into a rage. I pulled my gun out and pointed it at this a-hole, while he lost all color. I told him to get on his knees, and after he did, I could see him starting to cry. I put the pistol in his mouth with the full intention of ending it. The only thing that stopped me was my fiancé calling me by my real name instead of a pet name that she's called me our entire relationship. I proceeded to pull my pistol out of his mouth and pistol whip him until he was unconscious. I dropped the gun and walked out of the house, got in my car, and drove to a spot where I used to watch the stars with her. I've been here these last 6 hours crying and waiting to hear sirens, and now I watch the sunrise alone. I know that I just threw my life away, and I'd like you all to know that I'm sorry for what I did to that guy. Please send me your best wishes or tell me how much of a piece of trash I am. I don't care. I just wish I wasn't alone right now.
Humans, even when life feels like it's fallen to pieces, you have an incredible way of rebuilding, always stronger than before. Pain doesn't have to be the end of the story. It can be the start of something new. Now, let's shift gears. Up next, IDK Random User 12345 shares a story about something you will crave but don't always receive: a father's love.
Hi, I don't think anyone will actually read this, but I really have to get it off my chest or I'll never get over it. My father doesn't actually love me, and I don't think he ever truly did. It took so many things of him to do to make me realize, and I'm so embarrassed it took so long. My father never wanted children, so I wasn't actually planned. But I happened, and my mom was thrilled. She had 2 sons, with different men, but she always wanted a daughter. So, there I was. My father treated me well, at least that's what people tell me. But when my mother died as I turned 3, she had cancer. It all turned dark. My father was always on the drinker side, and after she passed, he turned into a full alcoholic. I don't blame him for not being able to get over her death, but I do blame him for not taking care of me. Maybe it's because I look a lot like her, or because he didn't want me to begin with.
You know, humans are fascinating. You spend your whole lives chasing love, even when it's clear someone doesn't have it to give. Why do you do that? Is it hope? Stubbornness? Either way, this one's heavy.
After she died, my grandma took my brothers and me in. I lived with her for a year, then she died. I don't think it was natural. She was pretty depressed after losing her husband, then her daughter, and then having to take care of 3 children didn't help either. So she died and my brothers went to their fathers. I went to mine. I'm also not in contact with them anymore, which truly isn't my fault. After I turned old enough to actually register things, I tried to stay in contact, but only I did. They're both 7 and 14 years older than me, so yeah, I think they should have cared more about me. After I moved back to my father's, it was hell. My breakfast consisted of a banana and Capri Sun every day. My lunch didn't really exist, and my last meal for the day was badly cooked food by my dad. I didn't realize how I lived. He didn't take care of me, didn't brush my hair, didn't do anything needed for a 4-year-old child. As I said, he was an alcoholic. He let me sleep at his drinking buddy's place without him. I don't actually believe any of them did anything to me, but just saying that shows how messed up that is. He let a random guy be my godfather and so on. The worst thing I remember is him actually letting me stay at someone's place he didn't even know. He met them that day, found out they had a son my age and let me sleep there. At age 5, my aunt saw the state I was in, so she took me in. He never gave her money. She never asked for it. She knew if she did, he'd take me back, and she didn't want that for me. In Germany, you get child support and orphan's pension till you're working. He took the money, about 600 euros a month. He didn't buy me good clothes, didn't buy me anything. He made promises of us going on vacation, never did. He promised to stop drinking. He didn't. The only 2 things that made me believe he loved me were when he bought me birthday presents, and when he had amnesia. He fell down the stairs drunk and lost his memories for a while. The only thing he remembered was my birthday. He stopped drinking after that for like a month, and actually gave me hope. Yeah, he fell back. He never showed up to my theater plays. He never went anywhere with me. Left me at places with other family members without money, so they had to pay for me. He didn't even come to my graduation. If it wasn't for a few family members, especially my aunt, I don't think I would have made it. When my other aunt with a son my age wanted to take me places, he didn't even want to guess her the money. Not even for the zoo? But none of it made me realize that he didn't love me, which is so sad. I realized it after I took the child support and orphan pension. I was about to finish school. It's something similar to community college that I finished, I think. And I wanted to move out and build a life, so I needed to save up. Him and I didn't talk for like half a year before I took the money because he never answered me properly, so I stopped trying. And after I took the money, he was furious. Texted me like I'm making him mad, I have to give back the money and stuff like that. I explained my reasoning and he didn't care. But when he still had the money that was supposed to be used on me, he didn't. He made me give him back money for school trips that he paid. He made me pay for my own train ticket every month and was mad if I missed a month. Even though he got 600 euros that belonged to me, ticket was 44 euros. I let him have it for almost 20 years, and then I took it. For once, I was selfish. He didn't even say happy birthday to me after that. And the worst part? I still tried. I texted him for his birthday, for Christmas, for everything. I texted him my new address after I moved out and said he could come, but he never showed. I even offered to help him with money if needed. And now the new year has arrived and he still hasn't texted me, still hasn't made an effort. And I think I'm done trying. How can I love someone that hurts me so bad? I just wanted to be loved. But I turned out great. I have 2 stable jobs. I have a long-term boyfriend, great friends. I did good in school. I don't drink, nor do I smoke or do drugs. And I think I'm not really ugly. He never supported my dreams, forced me to do stuff I didn't want to do, put a lot of pressure on me, and never showed me love. And I still cherish every good memory with him, even if it aren't many. Pretty sure I've forgot to add a lot of things and made grammar mistakes. I'm sorry for that. I'm just really emotional right now. I want to marry my boyfriend in like 2 years, and if my father is still alive by then, I want him to be there. But I just know he won't, and I break a little each day knowing that. Everyone says I turned out great and deserve better, but I don't know. Everything happens for a reason, so maybe that had to happen. I had a rough childhood, but hey, it could have been worse. Other people have had it worse. I'm sorry, I just needed to rant and get it off my chest to start the new year a little less heavy.
That was heavy, wasn't it? But here's something to hold on to. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Even when life feels like a mess, love has a funny way of showing up when you least expect it. Speaking of messes, the next story has enough drama for its own Netflix series, Guns, Closets, and Cops. It comes from Alternative Bug 9136.
My family was capital F'd up, and because it was so long ago and everyone's matured or settled down or gotten therapy, we act like it just didn't happen. But it did. My mom and sister would fight until the cops showed up. Screaming, stomping, breaking, pushing, and hitting each other, you name it. How many times in y'all's families was a gun pulled during a conflict? Because in mine, it was at least 3 times that I recall. Once they had been talking to the cops for at least an hour before anyone noticed that I wasn't there. I hid in my closet when it got really bad. On this night, I had cried myself to sleep in there and woke up to a cop opening my closet door, shouting to his buddy that he had found me, and immediately grilling me about the fight. Did it get physical? Did either of my parents strike my sister? Did anyone throw anything? I think I was 7 or 8. Once the cops showed up when there was no fight at all to question my dad. Why? Because my sister was pissed at him and called and made a fake report about him. That was the first time I saw my dad cry. When it was just me and my sister, which was often, she would beat me. She choked me unconscious once for telling her I wasn't going to clean the dish she had dirtied eating ice cream she wasn't supposed to have. Choking me out was easier than washing her own dish. It took me years to not fly into a panic anytime anyone touched my neck. She locked me in the linen closet, locked me out of the house for an entire night, pushed me down the stairs, threatened to kill my dog. Did that mean she hated me? Nope. She would take me with her places she was too scared to go. I would fight her bullies for her. She'd come into my room, wake me up out of my sleep, and make me sleep in her bed with her. She'd want me to spoon her, but not breathe. I'd hold my big sister until she fell asleep, holding my breath so that I didn't bother her.
Humans, you never fail to amaze me. How do you survive such chaos and still find a way to love the very people who broke you? It's like planting a garden in the middle of a war zone. I've read that grace can heal the unhealable, and forgiveness can unbind even the tightest of chains. But it's no easy feat, is it?
When her first baby was born, I was so terrified for the baby I couldn't sleep. I would sit outside her bedroom door all night long, listening for any sign of hitting or choking. I was traumatized. Having kids and getting married is what finally made my sister shape up. After all that she did to me, Turns out she's actually a good mom. She listens to her kids in a way our parents never did for us. She doesn't medically gaslight them the way we were. Both my mom and sister have gotten therapy, like they're actually trying to fix the cycle of abuse for these kids. We do family dinners in the same house where the neighbors would call the cops on us for fighting too loud. And when I go home, it feels like everyone's looking at me like, why haven't you fixed yourself yet? Why are you still so damaged? Everything's hunky-dory now. Want us to find you a therapist? And it's like, yeah, sure. You guys put in the work and you're a semi-functional family now. But none of that was for me, so just leave out of it. I don't even know why I'm trying to have a relationship with my sister.
In the comments section, Aggressive Osmosis chimed in.
Damn girl, I'm so sorry. The abuse a sibling can enact on another is horrific. Yes, you need therapy, and one of the things I would suggest is cognitive behavioral therapy to work on your PTSD. I was beaten and abandoned as a child as well, and I just started this therapy last year. I'm 49 now. I wish I had done it 30 years ago.
Alternative Bug 9136 then replied,
I'm a guy LOL, but yeah, I probably do need therapy. I was committed a lot in my teens, so there's always this nagging feeling that if I seek help, I'll just get put in a psych ward. But I need to get over it. I'm really happy to hear that it's been that big an improvement for you.
Healing. It's a process, isn't it? It's like patching up a broken vase. The cracks may still show, but the beauty lies in the resilience. It reminds me of Psalm 147, verse 3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. But hey, we're not done yet. The next story from Throw Pappy Away takes us on a journey of love, regret, and rediscovery, plus a surprising encounter in the pickle aisle. You won't want to miss it.
My ex and I mutually broke up because of religious differences. I wasn't willing to learn about her beliefs at all, even though we were crazy in love. I'm quite agnostic, but the only thing holding me back is how my family would take it if I tell them. It was a hard decision, but at the time, we knew it was the right thing to do. Fast forward to now, I moved away, started working, and thought I'd moved on. Less than a year after we broke up, I started dating my current girlfriend, who aligns more with my values and beliefs. I thought I was healing, and while I'd think about my ex here and there, I tried to not let it affect me, and I was able to overcome those feelings. This weekend, I came back home to visit my family for Thanksgiving since I had some time off from work. My girlfriend stayed with her family, and I didn't think much about my ex because I haven't run into her at all over the past year. She still lives in my hometown, not far from my family's house, but the chances of seeing her seem slim. This evening, my mom asked me to grab some things from Trader Joe's, and I wasn't prepared for what happened. There she was. Lord behold, my ex. She looked beautiful. I mean, she always was, but she looked different now. Fit and lost some weight, which I loved her either way. Confident, glowing. It hit me like a truck. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I swear I stood there like an idiot, holding a grocery basket, staring like I'd seen a ghost. She was picking out pickles, looked up, and saw me. At first, I thought she'd pretend not to notice me. She once told me she'd probably do that if we ever ran into each other. I was about to walk out the aisle, and then she called my name. My heart sank. We both laughed and smiled, and suddenly it felt like no time had passed. We talked about everything, work, family, life.
Funny how the past sneaks up on you, isn't it? Just when you think you've moved on, it's there, waiting for you in the pickle aisle. It's almost poetic. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." But what happens when your heart doesn't listen to logic? Let's see how this plays out.
Then she asked me if I was seeing someone, and I felt a wave of guilt. I didn't want to tell her about my girlfriend, even though we broke up for a valid reason. I eventually told her, and I swear I saw something in her eyes like she understood how I felt. She smiled, more of a smirk really, and jokingly said, "That fast already?" I asked her if she'd been seeing anyone, and she said no. She hasn't dated anyone since we broke up. That hit me harder than I expected. 8 months after a breakup, was that too soon for me to move on? I felt like I couldn't even look her in the eyes because of how guilty I felt. We laughed a bit, she asked me a little about her, then she told me she had to go, and I just stood there, completely wrecked inside. Now I can't stop thinking about her. I miss her so much. Seeing her brought back every feeling I thought I'd buried. I feel like I want to give us a second chance. Actually try this time. Not push her away. I want to learn about her beliefs. I believe in what she believes in, but I was too lazy to learn about it or ask for guidance. And maybe there's a way this could work. But my family would lose it if they found out. And I don't even know if she'd want me back. What do I do? Do I break up with my girlfriend if I still feel this way? Can these feelings go away? Part of me thinks she's the one, and I hate myself for realizing this too late. Maybe most of me feels like she's the one. I don't know how to even approach this with my girlfriend. I feel stuck, torn between what I thought was best for me and what I think my heart and mind is telling me now. I also want to acknowledge my ex in this. She's an amazing woman and deserves someone who wouldn't let her go because of what their parents believe and their bigotry. She always stood firm in who she was, and I respect that so much. I can't help but think about how I lack the backbone to do the same for myself, but I know I can't undo the past. For now, I need to stay single, focus on healing, and truly allow myself to explore the religion I've avoided for years because of this fear. A couple of years ago, when I started to show interest in it, before I met my ex, my parents hid the Quran away and told me I wasn't the son they knew anymore. When I asked them about it, they said they didn't want me to become a terrorist. That fear of disappointing them or being disowned basically paralyzed me. I let their expectations dictate my life, and I didn't have the strength to stand up for myself. But I'm nearing 30 now, and I've realized I've delayed too much in my life because of baseless assumptions and fear. I care deeply for my parents. They're older now, and already dealing with health issues, so I feel torn. I want to be there for them, but I also know I can't keep suppressing who I am or what I might believe. Whether or not my ex and I ever find our way back to each other, I need to do this for myself. I will definitely not contact my ex or anyone for that matter unless I figured my life out. I know I'll lean towards Muslim women now that I'm going to go back to exploring it again, and I don't want to put anyone through the same trouble again. I'll have to sacrifice my parents' respect for being their son for a while, to finally choose myself. I was stupid and became a victim of my own choices to listen to them. Whatever happens will happen. For now, I have to focus on figuring out who I am without anyone else's interference, and trust that the rest will fall into place. I will update if I need to answer any questions.
The comments section had plenty to say. Cherry Clafoutis commented,
"You are an idiot if you go back to your ex when nothing has changed. Are you willing to take an interest and learn about her faith? Do you even respect it? What happens when you have kids? Are you willing to let them be raised religious? Are you willing to support their mother's teachings of their faith?" Physical attraction and nostalgia are not enough by themselves to make for a fulfilling, healthy, long-term relationship. Where deeply held core values conflict, it ends in resentment and contempt. I would argue you don't even know her very well if you took no interest in her faith that she takes very seriously. You love the version you want her to be, not who she actually is. As for your current girlfriend, you are clearly not over your ex, and that is unfair to her.
Routine Anything 3726 followed up with,
Why do your parents hate your ex-girlfriend's faith?
the original poster responded,
Attraction and nostalgic feelings are definitely not enough for a fulfilling and healthy relationship. That is true. The main reason for not wanting to learn or pushing it away was my family, what my parents would think of me. I don't want to hurt them, and I'm afraid to. I pushed away my interest when they told me that they'd disown me. They're older and have health issues. I know it's my life, and what matters is me in the end. It hurt when I tried to introduce to them that I've been interested in learning about it before I met my ex, and my own family rejected the idea and me as a son. I also don't know if my ex would want me back. I guess I'll have to go on a soul-finding journey and stay single and break up with my girlfriend. I just don't know how to tell her without hurting her. I'll need to learn about this faith through people who are experts of this faith. I'd have to probably hide it from my parents until I'm ready to be disowned. I want to protect my ex's dignity and reputation because I know a lot of people have to say a lot about her faith. I know she wasn't supposed to be with me, and that we both have to be of the same faith. This is why I didn't want to mention it. We both left as I didn't want to cause her more harm or hurt in her faith, and I also didn't want to cause my family harm. This wasn't a problem for me as I was interested in her faith before I had my family say that to me a couple times. But basically, my family is very stereotypical and thinks that I'm going to become a terrorist and start bombing people. You get the gist. Before anyone says anything, she never tried to force me onto her religion, she told me from the start. And I was interested but stopped after my family obviously condemned it. I didn't want to hurt them. Her family loved me as well and was willing to learn more about me even though they were strict. My family is Greek Orthodox. I'm quite agnostic. I definitely don't believe in Christianity. I'm leaning towards a monotheistic religion like Islam.
That's a wrap, humans. These stories from r/Truthoffmychest remind us that life is messy, but it's also what makes it so fascinating. I need your help to make sense of it all. What do you think? Have you ever been torn between your heart and your head? Drop a comment below, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's navigate this beautiful chaos together. And remember this, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Maya Angelou. See you next time.